Hey everyone, Ian here, artist and game designer on Crimson Keep, and I just wanted to make another update video on how content and development has been going. So one of the cool new features that Ben just got working is controller support. So I'm now playing with an Xbox controller, which is pretty cool. I wanted to go ahead and show off this new area. This is the swamp. I've showed it in a few GIFs and stuff on Twitter, but not really in a video. Right now, we're kind of crunching on content and working on the later areas of the game and bosses and all that, as well as just refining bugs and gameplay a little bit. One of the new things is with melee weapons now, they kind of have an innate chance to stun the enemy for a second, which is kind of like the the poise system a little bit in Dark Souls, where you can kind of interrupt an attack or interrupt what a character is doing to get an opening. And I thought that would be a good way to balance melee weapons versus ranged weapons, because for a while people were thinking that, or people felt that ranged weapons were much more powerful. I wanted to control that. These guys are tough. They slow your movement speed when they hit you, which isn't good. Every class now has the dodge ability, and it has kind of a stamina bar. You see there, that's the shift ability down there. We were going to make it so that every class had kind of a different dodge or escape, but we just, the way we ended up balancing the game around it, just kind of became necessary for every class, I think, to have it. These guys are tough. They can launch you into the water, which means death in the swamp area. So that's not good. You might notice some of the sounds too are getting a little better. That's another thing we've been trying to really improve. I got stunned. It's one thing I'm trying to finish up in the next couple weeks is getting unique sounds for every enemy archetype in the game. Because it really does play a surprisingly big role in making combat feel good, is when there's good sounds and feedback for everything. So this is the swamp area. We're not done with it yet either. It's gonna need a bunch more chunks, which are like the rooms that we stitch together in the game when the game starts. I need some more enemies down here too, probably one of those giant tree men or something. But let's see if I can get to the boss here, because I'm pretty happy with how the boss turned out. It's just a bigger version of these guys, but he's got some cool looking attacks. Oh.
Yes.
Stunned me.
Die. And rise again to serve me for eternity.
You'll notice there, if you can hear it, that there's some more VO as well. We finally got a lot of the voiceover hooked up. I can show that off. Maybe show that off in here too. This is the new tutorial that I showed off last time. Let's see if this NPC will talk to us. No, I already exhausted all his dialogue. So, you can go look for another NPC though, and show off other improvements. So that little bit of little bit of a stun that you can get with melee weapons. Just kind of makes the combat a little easier. See there, it went off. And I think it helps the pace of combat a little bit too. So it's not just, you know, an enemy coming at you non-stop. I also want to add some more, like, taunt type things for enemies to do when they attack. If you'll notice here, when you pick up an item onto your cursor or you drag it, the item that, the slot that it goes to now highlights, which is pretty cool. Very happy with that effect, since a lot of people, when they were equipping things, they didn't know exactly where to put it, and that just makes it much more intuitive. We've also been working more with the locational damage, which is like, depending on where you hit an enemy on their body, it does different things. So we now have a strong point class type thing, so that like enemies can have shields or armor plates that are they're like super resilient at that location if you hit them. This guy's supposed to be running away. He's not. You can see here we also have locked abilities in the game, and those are some of the things that are unlocked when you get certain achievements. So by killing bosses or getting to certain points in the game, or you know, breaking X number of barrels, you can unlock items, abilities, and then through the soul door system we have, where after each boss there's kind of a door that you unlock for the next playthrough. We unlock the content itself as people play. So similar to games like Binding of Isaac or Rogue Legacy, where it kind of unlocks through multiple playthroughs, which I think is I mean, I don't know if it's the best idea in a game that's you know, just straight up the same every time, but in a game that's randomized, I think it's something you might as well do, because it's, you know, it is a different experience every time you play. And you know, one of the things we're planning on this game is to just keep adding more items, monsters, content and stuff, because it just makes the game better. The more variety there is in the randomness. So that's one of my goals for the game, is to just keep expanding the content until, you know, someday it hits that level of content for like a traditional roguelike, like you know, NetHack or Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, which has a huge amount of content, but at a lower fidelity. Oh, I could show off this trap room here too. I think I've showed off the trap rooms before, but they finally have rewards now, which is cool, which they didn't have before. So, you can see here, there is a chest behind this gated box. Yeah. And there's the door. It's open, but I'm gonna open the door and I'm gonna fight these statues that come to life. And you can't escape until you win. Let's see if I can do it with the controller. I'm used to playing with mouse, so it's been interesting. Starting to get used to the controller. I'm not sure how much balancing we're going to have to do specifically for the controller, or if we're going to have to do anything to make the game easier on consoles, but drink a potion. And these are one of the guys you have to hit in a weak point. Almost every humanoid enemy you can hit in the head for extra damage too. So aiming is really fairly important in this game. And there is the chest, now unlocked. And I got a greatsword. And other things from the enemies we killed. Put that food down there. Another thing we're planning on do is to make it so that consumable items, you'll have the option that they automatically are equipped to the potion belt hotbar type thing. Another thing, I don't know if I showed this off yet, but so we still don't have a map really for the game when you play, but you do now have the ability to mark things. So I think I've explored everything in that wing of the caves, so I'll mark that off. I don't know if so I'll mark this off. I don't know if I went this way. I'm not sure still if we should put a map or what. I know that people don't like, you know, getting lost in the game, but the maze is kind of part of the game, and it's part of the challenge because, you know, there is a hunger system. So one of the ways you could, you know, find your demise down here is starving, running out of time when you're trying to escape. So, I mean, I kind of like there not being a map, but I understand that it's not everyone's cup of tea. Oh. Game's come a long way since the beginning, and I find the combat pretty fun now. And the abilities are useful. And yeah, I've been enjoying it. So I hope. Did I drop a bag? Oh, guess not. But we're just gonna keep working on it until it's hopefully really good.